All right, everybody, thanks for joining us today. And we got kind of a special episode or segment here. We've got Mary Brandt with the American Red Cross. And again, as hunters, we're used to spilling blood, but a great way to give back to your community is to donate blood. Again, as active, responsible hunters, we are active in the community. And a great way to do that is to give blood. And it's pretty simple stuff, isn't it, Mary?
It sure is. I talk to a lot of people at our blood drives and at the donation centers, and many people tell me, I don't have a lot of money to give, but I do have blood and I do have time, and that's what it takes. Everybody can donate blood, and the need for blood is constant. Before I came to work for the Red Cross, I used to wonder, well, why don't they go out in June and collect all of the blood that they need? But the fact of the matter is they just can't do that. Blood is a perishable product. There are three components of blood. When you give a donation, there are red blood cells, platelets, and plasma. Red blood cells have a shelf life of 42 days, platelets only 5 days, and plasma can be frozen and used for up to a year. So that kind of gives you an idea that you have to keep the blood supply strong, but you can't have too much. It's a constant balancing act. The only other thing that I'd add to that is I cover what's called the Northern New England region. That includes Vermont, Maine, and New Hampshire. For our region alone, we have to collect 700 pints of blood every day to maintain a sufficient blood supply for the hospitals that we work with.
Wow, that's absolutely incredible. I had no idea it was that kind of volume. Again, this is a renewable resource, our blood, just like our wildlife, so it doesn't hurt you. Our bodies reproduce it, right? And it comes right back?
Absolutely. When you give a blood donation, let me see, blood donors can donate just about every 8 weeks. Platelet donors can donate actually if they want. Platelets regenerate themselves very quickly, and platelet donors can donate as often as every 2 weeks.
Wow.
So yes, it's renewable, and with all of the scientific and technical advances, there is no replacement for healthy volunteer blood donors.
Gotcha. And it's kind of an odd thing to me because I first donated blood when I was in high school, a senior in high school, which is quite a while ago. And I didn't donate for years and years. And then we had a Vermont State hunter education instructor who was actually shot and needed some blood. So there's a big call for this. And I started donating again at that time. And I found myself afterwards, I mean, it's less than an hour, it's in and out, it's literally painless. And I said to myself, well, why? Why haven't I been doing this? And it's so important. It can literally save lives. And Ashley here in the middle is a great example of that. Not yourself, but you had a young child, your youngest, right?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit of that story.
So Marley spent 3 months in the NICU, and during that time she had a surgery where she lost a lot of her blood. And coming out of surgery, she needed to have blood and even platelets replaced up to 6 days after surgery.
And you said 3 months. You're talking about a little tiny baby?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Wow, and I understand it was like a lot of blood too, right?
Yes, they said that she had lost over twice the total amount of blood from her body.
Twice
over the course of the week.
Blood volume.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And again, we talked afterwards. You are now a blood donor, right?
Yes.
And let me, just out of curiosity, did you donate before this?
No.
You didn't. So it was the same exact instance where these are surprises, just like getting lost in the woods. No one plans on getting lost. No one plans on needing blood. But when the time comes, it's pretty cool that it's there, right?
Yes. Yeah, and I didn't know that, like you had just said, that platelets only have a shelf life of so many days. That was another thing that Marley had needed following surgery, so that's
I don't need blood. Go ahead, you guys can
The Red
have it.
Cross always refers to their platelet donors as a special kind of hero. And going to one thing you were saying, I was thinking about how you said you didn't think about being a blood donor for a long time. The Red Cross has asked a lot of their donors why they give blood, and they seem to fall into two different camps. About 50% of the donors just want to help. It's something that they can do. They have the blood, they have the time, and they can help someone, so they choose to do it. And the other 50% are people like Ashley who have experienced what it's like to have a loved one who needs blood or platelets, or blood and platelets like your daughter did. And that really brings it home to them that it truly is, as we call it, the gift of life.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of them things that I think we take for granted. Again, where we donate here in Bennington is right next to the TV studio where we're filming today. And I've walked by that sign a million times, and it sounds really ridiculous for me to say that I didn't know. But I was unaware of it until the need was there, and I was asked specifically for it. So it's a very important thing. If you guys have the opportunity, I would highly recommend doing that. And another thing that happens is you get a letter afterwards. And I was thrilled with this letter. Anybody that wants to write me a letter and tell me that I'm special, please look up my address, right? I got a letter from the Red Cross after I donated blood. And it told me that all my blood went specifically to my local hospital, and when those needs were met, it was forwarded on to a bigger hospital in Massachusetts. So again, it kind of personalized it for me. It's that important. I'm literally saving lives, and you guys can too. And I think, is that everybody get those, or?
Yes, and it's funny, they do make a huge impact on people. I've had several people say to me, you know, how much it meant to them to actually find out where their blood ended up going. You know, one thing I would mention, you were saying that they checked your local hospital first. We are very lucky that the Red Cross is a national organization with an infrastructure that can move blood where it's needed, when it's needed. And as we talked about earlier, our first priority here in the northern New England region is to make sure that all of our hospitals are very well supplied. But after that, if there's another area of the country in need, we can help them out as well. And where that comes into play for New England is in our bitter cold winter months. Right. And I can tell you from experience, last winter we had to cancel a lot of blood drives. And so then we're very, very lucky with that national infrastructure that our friends in California and in the South can help us out when we need that help.
Gotcha. Well, I think that's an important factor. A lot of people, especially when it comes to giving and donating, they like the fact that it's local. And that's where it starts here. Your local needs are met first, and then it expands from there to the national chain. And another thing that makes me extra special is that I'm an O-neg, right? O-negative blood is, what do they say, less than 1%?
The next time you go to a blood drive, you'll notice that you'll see some of our Red Cross staff moving among the donors and talking with them. And whenever we run into an O-negative donor on some of the other types like A negative, B negative, AB, we will be encouraging them to perhaps consider becoming a double red cell donor.
Yep. So what it's doing right now is we're just collecting your blood. It's going into this top center right here. This is a centrifuge, so it's filling up like a bowl about this big, and it spins, and that's what separates your red blood cells and your plasma.
Oh.
Yeah. So once it's separated that in the bowl, you'll start to see this front bag here is going to fill up with your plasma. It'll look yellow. And then your back bag here will start to fill up with your red blood cells after we filled your bag with plasma. Once both those bags are full, we'll start to give you back that plasma.
But we try to maximize those donations. But you are right, Kevin. You are the
Extra
universal,
special.
the extra special.
My mom always told me. I knew it was true. I think the stats that I read was less than 4% of the population, and then less than 1% of people who donate actually give O-negative. And if I'm not mistaken, my blood's good for anybody, right?
That's your blood is definitely the most in demand. And where O-negative is particularly helpful is, say, if someone was in a car accident or something like that and arrived in the emergency room unable to talk for themselves and give information to the doctors, but they know they can give them O-negative blood. Right. And so it's the universal blood type, the very special person blood type.
All right. And again, as far as time of year, it is a year-round demand. The demand never leaves. But as far as donations, this time of year right now, December, January, is specifically important, right?
It sure is. Beginning right around Thanksgiving through January, what we're up against is the holidays. Everyone loves the holidays, but even our most loyal of donors, they're visiting family and friends. They're taking holiday vacations. Students who are huge blood donors, high school and college students, are on winter break. So come Thanksgiving, we see an immediate drop-off in donations. And as much as we all love the holidays, patients don't get a holiday from needing blood. So it's that time of year where we really have to remind people, like I said, everyone loves the holidays. That's totally understandable, but please take that time to give your blood donation. That time between Thanksgiving and January, we need you more than ever.
Gotcha. And how long, just out of curiosity, have you been doing this for the Red Cross?
I've worked for the Red Cross for about 3 years.
Yep, nice.
And I will tell you that one of the favorite aspects of my job is traveling to blood drives and visiting people in the donor center and talking with them. We have some incredibly wonderful people, and when you think about it, it makes sense because donating blood is truly one of the most selfless acts that there are. You know, you don't get to meet the people that you're helping. Chances are you may never be thanked personally, but that one blood donation can help save up to 3 lives. People, I'm always struck by this hurry, rush world that we live in. Not only are people giving their precious blood, they're giving their precious time. And I'm in awe of our blood donors.
Yeah, no, me too. In fact, you're talking about the regular donors, if you will. I've noticed, again, in the last year or two since I've been donating again, I do see the same faces just about every time that I go. So thank you to those people. And this message isn't just for hunters; it's for anybody. Anybody can give blood, right?
Because I feel the same way, that after a while you begin to see a lot of the same faces. I would challenge all of those people: recruit one more person and bring them with you.
Yeah.
Let's keep expanding that base of blood and platelet donors.
Well,
Yes.
that's something else that I absolutely have to give the Red Cross credit for, is you make it incredibly easy as far as locations. I know right here in Bennington, I want to say there's at least 3 or 4 that I know of, and there's probably more, but this happens everywhere, every state.
Across the country, we do thousands of blood drives every day. And if someone is looking for a blood drive, and I know yours is like what you were saying, right next door, but for people who are watching and thinking, I'd like to give blood too, I wonder where I can give blood, call 1-800-RED-CROSS or go to redcrossblood.org, and you can find, you can get a list of blood drives across the state and in your area.
And there's other ways that we can give too, right? The Red Cross is constantly looking for volunteers and other help, right?
The Red Cross is an organization. Our mission is really based on volunteerism. And if you, for whatever reason, can't give blood, I would strongly encourage people to think about being blood drive sponsors. We are always looking for blood drive sponsors. You can also help at a blood drive, register people, show them where to go to give blood. I mean, we are always looking for volunteers.
Gotcha.
And you can call that same number, 1-800-RED-CROSS, to find out more about what's involved with being a volunteer.
And now again, when you say volunteer, you're talking about the people that were feeding me Gatorade and pretzels
You got
after I
it.
was holding my hand and making sure I wasn't going to pass out, which was not a problem, by the way. I don't want to scare anybody. But when you say sponsors, now what's the difference? Are you talking about financial sponsors for?
What I'm talking about with sponsors is the church where you donate blood.
Gotcha.
They have chosen to sponsor a blood drive. You'll see blood drives at schools, colleges, businesses. Those people, those don't happen by chance. Those people agree that we'd love to sponsor a blood drive, and then there are certain things that they need to do, but that's a big part of what we do are finding those locations easily accessible across the, in my case, the 3 states that I work in, trying to bring those blood drives as close as possible to the donors, making it easy for them to donate. And I have to say, you were mentioning that there's nothing scary about giving blood. It's, you know, I have to tell you, no one hates needles more than I do.
Yeah, me too.
It's just a fact, and it's simply not that bad.
Right.
I know that some people may not know what to expect in giving blood, and what's involved with it is it takes just about an hour, and when you say that, I see a lot of people draw back if they're going to be taking my blood for an hour.
Yeah.
No, the actual blood donation is all of about 10 minutes, but they do have to register you.
Right.
Take a very brief health history, and what I mean by that is that, you know, checking your temperature, making sure your iron levels are high enough to donate. But the actual blood donation is only about 10 minutes, and as you said, there's cookies, juice,
Yeah,
all
it's
sorts
worth
of
it.
good stuff.
I found the trick for me in needles is I just don't watch.
Right.
If I don't see it going in, it's not a problem.
I do the
for me.
same thing. You know, Ashley, when your daughter started to receive these blood and platelet donations, I realized that you were in the midst of a real crisis. But at one point, did you start thinking, "Oh my God, you know, this is saving her life"? Or
Yeah, absolutely. I, for those 6 days, feared every day that we, you know, would lose her, and just having that blood supply there to give her is what kept her alive.
that term, the gift of life, really
Yeah.
is so very true. We're encouraging people through these winter months, and we're coming up on National Blood Donor Month, to give the gift that really matters.
It is. Yeah, it is. It does matter. And again, you know, I'm a big baby. I can hear your voice cracking even talking about it. It makes me want to cry too. We've saved an infant's life here, and that's one example out of millions and millions.
I've met some people who have shared some amazing stories, like Ashley is talking about today, and you know, this is really what puts the human face on the need for blood. And it's really, Kevin and I were talking before you arrived today about the fact that I think it's human nature that you don't really think about where blood comes from until you need it. And I've talked to multiple people in the time that I've been with the Red Cross, young people, no previous history of any illness or reason to believe that anything would happen, who have suddenly been facing death far too soon.
Anything with kids absolutely gets me, but you're right. I mean, as far as you know, being a parent, a kid losing a parent that needed blood would be a big deal too. So, a very, very important topic that we're talking about here, and it's a very, very simple fix. It's as easy as stopping down and donating blood, right?
Yeah. Put it on your calendar. Plan to do it. Make yourself do it. Take that hour. And as you said, we're talking about this, we're in this time right now between Thanksgiving and January. We really need donors right now.
Do you have a donor ID card?
I do.
Awesome sauce.
No matter what your holiday plans are, please plan that 1 hour. Call, make an appointment. We need that donation. Every single donation is precious. You're going to help to 3
Lots of
lives
lives.
with that one donation.
That's nice, quick and easy, from start to finish for me. Was not only simple, but very, very rewarding. And I bet you'll second that motion, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I try to bring a friend every time I go.
Nice.
The last time I went to the Legion a couple of weeks ago, there was a blood drive, and I recruited a couple of my coworkers to come with me. We went right after work, and
Thank you.
so every time, bring a friend, bring a family member.
Give blood, save a life. It's awesome. I appreciate both you guys. Really
Thank
thank you
you.
for coming. Ashley, too, for sharing your
Thank you.
story.